we are looking at the female reproductive system. We're looking at the structure of each organ. Now there are several parts that makes up the female reproductive system, and we're gonna look at each individually. So we're gonna start off by looking at the ovary, and there are more than one. You have one on the left side and you have one on the right side. Now the ovary has an oval shape and it is around 3 to 4 centimeters long. Near to each ovary you find the funnel-like opening of the fallopian tube, and the mouth part of it is wide enough, and you realize that the ovary is attached on each side. It is attached to the mouth part of the fallopian tube. Then we move down and we are able to see the uterus. Now the uterus has a pear shape, right? It has a pear shape. It has thick muscular walls, and at the upper handle you realize that the fallopian tubes are attached on either side. Now at the lower angle you can see the cervix. Now the cervix is known to be the exit area for the baby into the vaginal canal or the vagina. We just looked at the structure of the organs. Now we're going to look at the functions for each organ. Now let's look at the ovary. Now the ovary produce and develop ova. Now that's one function of the ovary. And then another function is for each month an egg is discharged from the ovary. Now let's look at the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube forms a passage from the ovaries then to the uterus for the ova, which is the egg. Now this is where fertilization occurs. So the egg becomes fertilized. When it becomes fertilized, then it travels through the fallopian tube and then into the uterus. When it reaches into the uterus, what does it do? It becomes embedded or implanted into the walls of the uterus. Now let's look at the functions of the uterus. Now there are two main functions of the uterus. The first one is the uterus is for the attachment of the embryo, and it is also where the baby is fed. So it serves as an organ for the feeding of the embryo. Now let's look at the cervix. Away from the uterus, you have that little area which is known as the cervix. When the baby is ready to be born and the head turns down, that little area expands. It expands to accommodate the whole passing of that baby into the vaginal canal. So the cervix serves that purpose where it expands, it widens to accommodate the passing of the baby into the vagina or the vaginal canal. Now let's look at the vagina. The vagina has three functions. The first function is, this is where spermatozoa is received. It is the region for the whole reception of spermatozoa, or if you know it by sperm or semen. Now you know that you cannot see sperm because it's very small. What you see is known to be semen. Now the other function is, it is the passage or the canal through which the unborn baby will pass through. And then the last function, it serves the purpose for the whole entrance of the male organ, which is known as the penis. So those are the functions for each organ of the reproductive system of the female.